That Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell getting snubbed. He was left hanging not just by one Capitol Police officer or family member, but by all of them. The receiving line was part of the Congressional Gold Medal ceremony for officers who responded to the January 6th riot. Nearly 2 years ago, McConnell blasted President Trump for inciting the violence, but McConnell then voted to acquit the former president in his impeachment trial. House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy, who didn't even try for a handshake at the ceremony, also criticized Trump 2 years ago, but McCarthy then quickly embraced Trump a few weeks later. The brother of a police officer who died of a stroke the day after the January 6th insurrection was blunt.
Came out right away and condemned what happened on January 6th, and whatever hold that Trump has on them, they've backstepped, they've danced. They won't admit to wrongdoing, not necessarily them themselves, but of Trump, of the rioters. I mean, people like Louis Gohmert, who presented an American flag that was flown over the Capitol to a January 6th rioter and told them they were a patriot. It's disgusting. And it takes away everything my brother's done. It takes away the heroism my brother showed.
You don't think they deserved a handshake in this context?
No, definitely not. No, because unlike Liz Cheney, they have no idea what integrity is. They can't stand up for what's right and wrong. With them, it's party first.
And the party, the GOP, led by Donald Trump and his enablers, is suffering, at least politically. At the very moment Republican leaders in Congress were getting shamed in that handshake line at the Capitol, a prominent voice on Fox News was blasting President Trump himself.
Many of the 74 million people who voted for him in 2020 have been turned off. Right after that election, the 2020 deal, he ranted against Georgia's Republican governor, Brian Kemp, because he wouldn't fix the vote in Trump's favor. Kemp went on to trounce Donald Trump's guy in the gubernatorial primary. In the midterms, Trump-backed candidates lost vital races. And right before today's election, he was talking about terminating parts of the Constitution. That plays right into the Democrats' hands. He's trying to walk it back today, but the damage has been done.
And it's damage to the Republican Party just from the past few weeks and months, though as we've seen, the stench from January the 6th still hangs over the GOP. And it will not be forgotten or forgiven anytime soon by the people who suffered the most that day. On or right after January the 6th, 5 people died, and more than 140 U.S. Capitol Police officers were injured. Some of those police were permanently disfigured or blinded. Others are still suffering from PTSD. Now, I get the debate over whether it is ever appropriate to snub and ignore somebody in a handshake line. The handshake is a symbol in the moment of peace. It does not mean that you accept the history, values, or character of the person you are greeting. It is merely an acknowledgement of their presence and a confirmation of that moment. But I also appreciate the burning hatred that Capitol Police officers and their families still feel towards Republican congressional leaders. Because of Donald Trump, his enablers in Congress, and the big lie that so many Republicans embraced, Donald Trump supporters became violent and attacked fellow Americans, Capitol Police officers who were protecting the building. That day, January the 6th, will stand as one of the most despicable days in U.S. history. And if Republicans don't like being humiliated and ignored in a genteel receiving line, so be it. The pain and anguish from Capitol Police officers is going to linger far longer than the awkwardness or embarrassment McConnell and McCarthy will remember. I'm David Schuster. Thanks for joining us.